Hello, this is Blast6. I'm here with Equestron once more uh, well, things got in the way in June and we couldn't do a retrospective quick video about our thoughts on the Trail series as it turns 20 this year.
Oh, it's not. It's not. I can't drink yet.
Mm.
21st anniversary.
Well, that never stopped Sarah.
Oh yeah, that is true.
All right, and it's gonna be a bit of a shorter video, though. We're gonna just go through our history with the game. So since
Hmm.
you introduced me to the franchise, how did you first find out about it?
Well, it was back when it first came out on the Vita, and I probably like the Vita and also the PS3. But I got on the Vita at the time because I was looking for like a good alternative to the Persona games because I was playing Persona 4 Golden really like almost religiously nonstop when I got it. And then I just thought to myself, is there any other games like kind of like it, like School Life Simulator with also some battle mechanics? And then that's when I came across the Trails of Cold Steel, and I was like, oh, this looks fun. And so I started playing it, and then I was having a good time. But and then I think probably maybe around that time when it started making its way to PC, that's when I recommended it to you. But as for me, as sort of as the games went on, like it's not like I was like losing interest in them. It was just that the pacing of the games kind of made it hard for me to come back every now and again. And so you played the games a lot more than I did. But I played one, two, three, and Trails from Zero. But and I've really enjoyed my time with the games, but obviously you played a lot more than I did.
Yeah. You introduced me to the franchise around, I believe it was early 2019.
Yeah.
Yeah, before the pandemic hit, and
Hmm.
yeah, it was around spring of 2019, if I remember specifically. You recommended me Cold Steel 1, and so I played that, and as soon as I finished that and saw the cliffhanger, I immediately bought Cold Steel 2 and got into that.
Very understandable.
And yeah,
Hmm.
um, and now this is kind of the part where I sort of forget the like specific order of events, kind of. Um, But I believe what happened is after I finished two, three hadn't come out yet, so I waited for three to come out
Hmm.
yeah, and then that came out, and then instead of going back to play the other games, I just waited for Cold Steel 4.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, and then that was in late 2020.
Hmm.
And then what I did was, yeah, and then while I was waiting for Reverie to come out, I it was late 2020 where I went back and played the Sky trilogy, Sky the first chapter, second chapter, and Sky the third, all of which on
Hmm.
Steam.
Right.
And then I replayed 4 again now with context of the older characters a little bit more.
Hmm.
And then before Reverie came out, Zero and Azure were released.
Hmm.
And so I played those before I played Reverie. And then after that, Daybreak came out recently.
Hmm. Which
Also
you
finished
were like,
recently.
I can't. You finished quickly, but you're like, I can't talk this weekend when I'm playing Reverie. I don't know what I'm Reverie. I'm playing Daybreak.
Yeah,
Leave me
that's
alone.
like if there's any excuse for me to blow off hanging out with you, it's either a Trails game came out or I'm on a trip.
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah,
Both decent excuses.
yeah. So I finished all the available games released in North America right now. Daybreak 2 and Farewell of Zemuria will be ideally coming out next year. Daybreak 2 is confirmed.
Hmm.
I'm fairly confident that Farewell of Zemuria, the 20th anniversary game, will probably be coming out late next year, like October, November, December esque.
Yeah,
Or if not
yeah.
that, then
Could
early
easily be like a
2026.
holiday release.
I would, I
Yeah,
would,
I could see.
yeah.
Go ahead.
I could see it
Yeah.
being holiday release. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Big epic special edition.
All right. So, all right. So you would say that your experience is Zero and Cold Steel 1, 2, and 3, right?
Right.
Okay. So, and you don't care if I say things that spoil the other games, right?
No, go ahead.
All right. But we will quickly breeze through the games that you haven't played, just because. Well,
Mm-hmm.
there's not much to talk about, but don't take that as, oh, these games aren't that great. No, all of these games are worthy of being played, and they're all fantastic. I do recommend
Mm-hmm.
going in original release order: Sky second chapter, the third, Zero, Azure, Cold Steel 1, 2, 3, 4, Reverie, and then Daybreak.
Mm-hmm.
Because while you could technically start with the first entries of each of the arcs, it is recommended because there's context that you'd be missing out on.
Yeah.
Alright. So, for Sky first chapter, I would say that the two big highlights of the game, I would say, are the beginning where Estelle and Joshua are basically in their final exam to become junior bracers, and just like how we're introduced to them as like Joshua is basically brought into the Bright household by Cassius, Estelle's
Mm-hmm.
father, and it's Estelle's birthday, and she's like, "Wait, my present is a boy." Yeah, and then cut to a few years later, they're taking their final exam for that, and then Sherazard is giving them the exam, and they're going into the sewer to fight monsters and retrieve something. I think it's been a while, and yeah,
Mm-hmm.
like Estelle's just like, "Oh man, the sewers, that's so nasty."
Mm-hmm.
And like yeah, Estelle is like one of the most spirited characters I've ever seen. Like she does not take shit from anyone.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And then there's also the ending of the game that basically Joshua, there's stuff revealed about Joshua, and he has to basically leave, and so Estelle confesses her feelings to him, and they share a kiss, and he laces her with like basically like does one of those spy movie things and like laces his lips with a sedative, and has her like fall asleep so she can't follow him.
Mm-hmm.
And so he leaves, and then the credits roll,
Mm-hmm.
and then yeah, we meet characters Agate, Tita, and Olivier, which
Mm-hmm.
all of which, especially Olivier, will be more important later on in the series.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and then we move on to Sky's second chapter, where I would say my two favorite moments are when Estelle and Joshua reunite before the final act of the game, and
Mm-hmm.
they redo the kiss, and then also near the end of the game where they're about to die, and that they share a romantic moment, and then fall off a fucking like I'm trying to remember, like it's like a huge ass structure that comes into the. It's like when a lot of games have like giant flying fortresses, and then you just fall from the sky.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like all right, and then we have yeah, yeah. Just sorry for not like bringing up a lot more of these games. Like they're all worth playing.
Oh
Like
yeah.
don't let my quick words about these things fool you.
Right.
They're all worth your time, worth everyone's time.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Sky the Third. We're introduced to Kevin and Reese. I believe they know each other from the past, and basically them, and along with a lot of other characters from Liberl, get trapped inside a phantasm cube thing, and they basically just have to go down a roguelike dungeon.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's not like roguelikes, it's more just like a huge dungeon that has multiple floors and layers and stuff. And so I would definitely say that my favorite part of this one is also its ending, which has a lot of things to it, and and the parts with Estelle and Joshua and someone they meet in Sky second chapter, Ren. That leads into Trails from Zero, where we introduced to the special support section of Lloyd Bannings, Ellie McDowell, I'm trying to remember, Tita, Tio, Plato, and Randolph Orlando, Randy.
Yeah.
And
Randy.
and so they're basically a part of the police that's like, okay, well, the Bracers are really popular. Let's just copy them.
We could do it too. We're cool.
Essentially, yeah. And so, early on in the game, in like I think chapter 2, Estelle and Joshua show up, and they're basically like, "Oh, cool, you're police officers. That's nice." And they're like, "Sweet. So you basically do what we do. That's awesome."
Only worse. Haha.
Yeah, like they don't. The thing is
they
that
don't. Yeah, they're too nice.
Yeah.
They don't.
Yeah, the thing is about Zero is that in the beginning, the special support section is basically looked down upon because the police themselves are also looked down upon. Because like the Bracers are like held in high regard, and so the police is like, you're fucking useless. You can't do nearly half the shit the Bracers do. And so
yeah, Lloyd is like, what is this? Some kind of Suicide Squad?
Yeah, you fucking wish.
Just would have been funny if they just added that meme for no reason into the dialogue. Damn localization people.
Anyway, all right, and so, yeah, like they're definitely looked down upon by like the general public, at least at first, and as they start doing more assignments and such, they start getting respect from their peers on the good and the bad sides of the law, and also, yeah. But Estelle and Joshua basically are like friendly to them almost immediately. Yeah, and I really like that about it because like they like it felt like they were coming into it not really knowing who they are, but they can tell that they're good people.
Yeah. Usually what's interesting about the protagonists in the Trail series is that they're usually pretty nice people.
Yeah. We'll get into more about that later, but yeah. And so I believe it is either chapter 4 or chapter 5. Lloyd and he can bring another person along to basically go and infiltrate an auction by like some big bad people, and something that they are auctioning off is a little human, a little girl named Kia.
Right.
And like the thing about this is that they're like definitely shocked that like a little girl is being auctioned off at this place, but they don't really they don't really like bring up trafficking charges.
Yeah, I know, right? Like what the? It's
like they just realize, oh, this is a little girl. Let's just get her out of here, and they don't even like question why the hell they have like a little girl, and this is literally child trafficking.
Yeah, like they literally like hand wave it, being like with the auction people going, "Oh, we didn't know that was there," and they're like, "Oh, okay." that's pretty much it. Like, oh, you didn't know? Okay, well, whatever, it's fine.
Yeah. Yeah, and then she's like the cute little cinnamon roll that is in their lives, of course.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and
pretty much their adoptive daughter at this point.
Yeah, basically. And so what ends up happening is that along with them, the SSS have other allies like their chief officer Dudley,
Mm-hmm.
No. It's Sergei and Dudley who are their superiors in the police department.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Zeit the Wolf and I'm trying to remember. Yeah, other Wazi and what the hell is her name again? Of course, I'm blanking on this stuff now.
Mm-hmm.
Rishia, that's it.
Okay.
Yeah, Wazi is a part of a street gang, and Rishia is a part of Arkansas, like a big performance uh, theater troupe.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Yeah, they'll be important later. All right, and so Kia basically gets kidnapped, coerced into like going somewhere, and is going to be sacrificed or whatever. And oh wait, no wait, that's not it. No, that's not right. It was something else. It was someone that was disappeared, and so they went along with Estelle and Joshua to go and find them.
Mm-hmm.
And so like like there's like a DG cult, and then some other stuff, and then pills that make you really strong and like improve your luck for some fucking reason.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and so what happens is that this guy basically professes himself to be like a holy being or whatever, and just takes a pill, becomes a monster, and then before everyone can be killed, Ren comes in with her fucking robot, and this is my favorite part of the game, and then just like fucking punches this guy in the goddamn face, and then they're able to kill the boss, the final boss of the game. And then before Ren can leave, Estelle and Joshua, who have been chasing Ren around the continent in order to basically be like, hey, you lost your family and are in a pretty bad way. Let's become a family.
Okay.
Yeah, and so, and honestly, before I actually finished this game, I honestly thought that it was going to go on for like another game.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, turns out like the robot who has some sentience of its own is like, no, you're better off with them. Like, doesn't actually say that, just just like drops her in front of them. Well, like
You
they're
say
like he's
I go, no following. Just becomes the Iron Giant.
Superman.
Superman.
All right, yeah, and then they basically just become a family. And I might as well reveal it now because it's getting important. Joshua and Ren used to be members of the big bad behind the scenes corporate like what the hell would we call Ouroboros exactly?
Like
Just like the
the
big
old shadow
bads.
group. Yeah, pretty much the big bad.
Yeah, and Joshua had a brother named Luve, or brother like figure who was also in Ouroboros, and who they fought in second chapter, and who died because because Weissman just couldn't keep his hands to himself.
God damn it.
Yeah. Sorry, excuse me. I just had lunch. I'm just trying to process everything.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So. Yeah, so Estelle, Joshua, and Ren are now family, and the special support section has solved the case. And so we move on to Azure, where things start to escalate from the kingdom of Erebonia. But we are while we're in Crossbell, while this game is in Crossbell, Erebonia and Calvert are pressuring Crossbell.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, Dieter Kreuz basically is like, fuck all y'all, we're going to be an independent state. And, of course, the two big countries don't fucking like that, and so they're pressuring them into a hostile takeover. And while all that's going... Well, yeah, and before that happens, we actually have... her name's Noelle, right? The officer from the Defense Force.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, and so she joins the SSS, albeit temporarily for like a few chapters, and then like everyone gets separated after like Dieter Kreuz basically like takes Kia and is like, oh, you're like a Septarian of Mirage now. I was like, okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then
okay.
And then Ellie's friend Mariabelle, who was, his Dieter Kreuz's daughter, also like manipulates Kia into rewriting history. Because of course, rewriting history. Let's do that now.
Rewrite history.
Yeah, and right after Kia basically Kamehamehas Guerrilla Fortress away in Erebonia, the Azure Tree is created, which is also important. Well, which is also noted later on, but we'll get to that when we get to Cold Steel. And so, Dieter Kreuz is basically defeated and left to be arrested after the big barrier around Crossbell is dispelled.
Mm-hmm.
And so the SSS basically go into the Azure Tree to confront Mariabelle and the big bad. Wait, no, they are the... Wait. And a few other foes along the way.
Mm-hmm.
They also encounter... what the hell was his name again? Arios McLean. I think his name is Arios McLean, right?
Yeah, Arios McLean, yeah.
Yeah, an S-rank bracer, Divine Blade of Wind, like that kind of shit. Mm-hmm. And it is revealed that Lloyd Bannings essentially joined the special support section partially to also figure out where the hell his brother went, and why he was killed. Mm-hmm. And it turns out that Arios was a part of that. But the full truth isn't revealed until we get to the final boss, where before that, Mariabelle is like, oh, did you see all those nice little things that were happening around you while coming up? Yeah, you guys died in an alternate timeline. Like, what?
What? Yeah, have fun with that. Have fun with that knowledge.
Yeah, so in Zero, there was a prologue thing that happened, and we were playing that, and it turns out that is the timeline where the SSS died, and Kia tapped into her Septarian powers and basically was like, yeah, I'm undoing that shit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and now we have like gods of like infinite power and shit to deal with, which is insane. Yeah, but that's not even the weird part. No, the fact that Mirabelle is actually not alone in this plan, and it turns out someone that they thought they could trust. I'm trying to remember. Oh god, the fucking indigestion. Mr. Grimwood, who has been an ally this whole time, turns out that he actually was in on this whole thing to basically just try to rewrite things to make across Bell a better place, I guess, by just making it so that, I don't know, the Empire and Calvert are just not really that important. I don't know what the hell the problem was. And then Bell's like, yeah, no, fuck that. I want to rule the world. And then he was like, wait, what? And then he just got bitch smacked by, and he just got fucking sideswiped away. And thankfully he doesn't die, but it's left pretty fucking ambiguous for a while.
Did he die?
And so Kia basically transforms into the final boss, and then and then the SSS defeats her, and then Lloyd just like hops into like a wormhole mirage thing to go get Kia, and he finds basically the dead spirit of his brother, and so speaking of, Grimwood was actually a part of this, and I believe shot his brother in the back while Arios was struggling to kill him. Arios and Lloyd's brother, Guy Bannings, were like best friends. And so, like, he when he was tasked to actually kill Guy Bannings because he was getting too close to the truth of everything, Grimwood had to shoot him in the back and kill him. Yeah, and so a ghost of Guy Bannings comes in and he's like, "Hey Lloyd, how's everything going?"
Hey, what's up?
Hey, so are you getting close to that Ellie chick? She's pretty cute. But yeah, she does ask about like his love life, which is kind of intrusive, not gonna lie. Yeah, and like this is like the one thing I don't like about the future games is that they don't actually confirm who Lloyd ends up with. Like, you're not even given a choice who he ends up with. Like in Reverie, you actually are given a choice of who we'll get to, a Marine spent his last moments with before Cold Steel 4 comes to an end. But nothing about this.
Yeah, it's almost like the Lloyd series is like no, this is the canon route. Get away from us.
Yeah.
You have no choice in the matter. It's like, I mean, who else is there?
And he fucking calls Reen oblivious in Eventide, and that's just bullshit. Like, the most indecisive guy in the fucking series is him. Jesus Christ. Anyway, yeah, and so Lloyd finds Kia, and that's the end of Azure. Yeah, and then Maribel basically joins Ouroboros, and then everything. And then last thing to note would be there's a night lady that's basically like that, who's Leanne Sandlot, goes by Aryan Road, and she has about 3 lady knights who follow her around. And that'll be more relevant when we get to The Legend of Heroes: Trails of Cold Steel, where we both played this game. So I'll let you go first as far as your favorite moments, and then I'll go in afterward.
Well, what's interesting about Legend of Cold Steel is that like it's actually one of the more like unassuming games at first, like we're just like, oh, it's a fun little like adventure with cool cast of characters, and everyone's having a good time fighting monsters, like maybe some minor government intrigue going on in the background, and all of a sudden and then we even have like a school festival like subplot in one of the last chapters, and I'm like, okay, so this is like winding down, right? And then all of a sudden, like the really like the last 2 hours is like, oh yeah, political assassination. One of your teammates is actually evil the whole time, and now we're gonna leave on a massive cliffhanger where you don't know what happened to your friends.
And that massive cliffhanger is the reason I fucking bought the game immediately. I don't even think it was. I think the game was at full price too, so I didn't even like give a shit about the price at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that whiplash, and also pretty much the last act, was more like defining moment of the series, going, oh crap, this is it's like, this is real kind of a thing. And so that's what that's kind of what made me excited to keep going with the series.
Yeah. Had I started from the very beginning and actually played all five previous games, I probably would have been a bit underwhelmed, if I'm being real. Like
Mm-hmm.
thinking about it in
Mm-hmm.
hindsight, like it's a bit underwhelming.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like I am actually really glad I played this game first. All right, so we're
Mm-hmm.
introduced to Reen Schwarzer, a dropout of the Eight Leaves One Blade School of
Mm-hmm.
Swordsmanship, who basically goes to Thor's military academy and meets his friends who become Class 7, who basically
Mm-hmm.
just go off and do field studies and learn more about the country of Erebonia and how fucked its political climate really is.
Mm-hmm.
Notable members of Class 7 are the teacher Sarah Valstein, Fee Clausel, former Jaeger, future Bracer,
Mm-hmm.
Elisa Reinford, daughter of the Reinford Group, uh, Laura S. Arcade, daughter of Victor Arcade of the Arcade School of Swordsmanship, Gaius Warzel from the Nord Highlands, uh, Elliot Craig, son of the commander of the Fourth Armored Division of the Erebonian Army. Machias Regnans, son of Governor General Regnans of. I'm trying to remember the specific details. Heimdall and Eustace uh, Alberea, son of one of the four great houses. And Emma Milstein, who we don't learn is really important until the end of this game and all of the next game. We
Mm-hmm.
learn who is actually a witch of from like the Hexen clan, who are like
Mm-hmm.
big time players later on in the franchise. Am I forgetting anyone? There's also Toa, the student council president, Crow, who joins the team later on, who is also a friend of Toa. Angelica and George, also friends of theirs. Angelica, the, let's be honest, sexual harasser in any other context. And George, the ornament wizard.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see, am I forgetting anyone? Uh, I don't. There's also the uh, trying to Imperial Liberation Front, who are going around being terrorists. Um,
Don't mind us, just being terrorists.
and so, and like okay, yeah, let's yeah, but yeah, and they all meet yeah, and all the of Class 7 meets each other in Chapter 1. But before that, there's a prologue that has well, yeah, there's like an intro portion where it actually cuts to the future a few months later,
Mm-hmm.
where they're all on a field study to Gorelia Fortress, and Gorelia Fortress is under siege by terrorists, the Imperial
Mm-hmm.
Liberation Front, and so they go around and they and like it's fucking tense, and like this song that plays, Atrocious Raid, is one of my favorite songs in all of video games.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
All right. Um. Yeah, and so yeah, and like sorry, uh,
Mm-hmm.
just a little jumbled in the head right now. All right. Okay. So yeah. So basically, and there's also Milliam who joins in the same time that Crow joins Class 7. Milliam is a member of the intelligence division and a also an Iron Blood, which is important in Cold Steel 2 and 3. So yeah, and so they just do their field study stuff, get to know people, have a on again off again romance stuff between Reen and the girls. And then we get to the ending where it's revealed that Crow Armbrust is C, the leader of the Imperial Liberation Front, and fucking assassinates Chancellor Gileath Osborne while he's making a speech, a public address. I don't remember exactly what the purpose of it was for. I think it was to invade Crossbell. I don't know. And so after that happens, things start falling into place, and the night before, actually several days before, they explore their the old schoolhouse where they find a mech robot thing at the very end of it after after dealing with a ethereal boss. And so what happens is that it's revealed that Crow also has a big mech robot himself. And and then so the and Trista, the place that the school is, the town that the school is in, is about to get occupied by the Noble Alliance, who are the big bads of this part of the arc. And so Class 7 goes to defend from the pincer attack that they're pulling off. And Reen summons the robot who's named Valimar in the basement of the old schoolhouse, and manages to hold off both a grunt in a Panzersoldat mech outfit that's very similar, but also Scarlet, who is also in a mech suit thing. But Crow comes along, gets wailed on for a little bit, and then is like, I've been piling mine for 3 years. You've been piling yours for only a few seconds. And then fucking wrecks us. Wrecks Reen, and then Reen has to unfortunately retreat, leaving his fellow students behind, and Reen is fucking is crushed and angry and rage, and it is just full of so much anger and sadness. No, let me stay!
We have to leave them behind. No. And
take us as far away from this as possible. Yeah. And real quick before that, and during the finale we get introduced to Emma's cat, Celine, who can fucking talk, and is Emma's witch familiar, who knew about everything. Alright, and so then we cut over to Cold Steel 2, which was my favorite game of all time before 4, but we'll... And so the basic gist of this game is Reen is recovering from the loss of losing Trista, losing the battle against Crow, and losing contact with his friends. And so basically a lot of this game is just a lot of the first act is just find all the friends and figure out what the hell's going on in the Empire. And so, basically, this is the start of a civil war between the Noble Alliance and the Reformist faction. I don't remember. And so basically, they're just trying to find a. They don't agree with either side, and they just want to find a third way.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's where Olivier, who turns out to be Prince Olivert, the first son of Erebonian royalty,
Mm-hmm.
who was in the first game and the second game and the third game, mind you, as like a traveling bard, is revealed to be, um, yeah, and so he basically is like, oh hey, here, have my red airship.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, and yeah, and then yeah, they do a bunch of cool stuff, learn lost arts, get all their other shit back, make a really cool Zemurian Ortachi for Valimar, and like there's this really cool sequence in the middle where Reen basically just talks to all the big bad guys, including Fee's old running Jaeger friends, Zeno and Leo from Zephyr, and
Mm-hmm.
also one of the knights that they encountered earlier, Duvali, who will also be important later on. There's also Altina, who is everyone's favorite cinnamon roll in starting in 3, and and McBurn, who is, I guess, sort of important, but not. It is distractingly important.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and so and after and so the inciting incident near the beginning of this game was that both Reen's sister Elise and Princess Alphen were captured by Altina uh, for the Noble Alliance.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, and something that was not mentioned earlier was that Reen has the power to basically go White Super Saiyan. But well, Super Saiyan in terms of just like a power boost and such. It's his
Right.
ogre power transformation,
Mm-hmm.
and we'll understand why he has that in a little bit. But yeah, and so basically he was struggling to control that for a long time, but managed to use spirit unification to figure everything out, and now he can do it at will. And game just got a whole lot easier for most people, except for the morons that did nightmare mode. I'm looking at you, weapons CI.
What they do nightmare mode first go around?
They've been
Just kind
doing
of
the
kind of.
nightmare modes for both Cold Steel 1 and 2, and the playthrough is only now just winding down.
Oh my goodness,
Yeah, I just
feels like a
posted the
mistake.
actually, yeah, we'll get to hold on, give me a second. I just need to text my dad, tell him the dog's okay. Yeah, she pooped like normal, like a poopy train. Okay, so yeah, and so yeah, and then what happens before they confront everybody is the Azure Tree fucking shows up, or the very well,
Mm.
yeah. So the barrier around Crossbell is like just events from Azure start to happen adjacent to the story of Cold Steel 2. And if you've played that one, you'll recognize the events that happen here around the area of Crossbell. And then everyone's just like, what the fuck happened in Crossbell? All right, and so they go and rescue the royal family that was being held hostage in a villa. And before anything else can happen, fucking Noble Alliance leader, I forget his name, like he's a pathetic asshole, kidnaps the crown prince and basically just forces the entire like the imperial palace in Heimdall to transform into the infernal castle. And so Reen and his and Class 7 have to fucking climb the whole thing, and just like then just traverse everything, going through each of the bosses, and then reaching the top where Reen and Crow settle things, and Reen beats Crow, and the guy is like, "Oh, I'm petty. I'm gonna just push this guy into the other divine knight." What? For fuck's sake! Ugh! Damn bodily functions. Jesus Christ. So, basically, this guy, I honestly do not remember his name at all. Basically, just forces the Crown Prince Cedric to fuse with this Testarossa boss thingy, and then they become the Crimson Apocalypse, I think it was, and then Reen and Crow battle it together, but Crow is mortally wounded in the exact same place that he shot the Chancellor. And so the guy, the really petty guy, tries to hold Cedric ransom with a dagger, and like fucking ruins a beautifully touching farewell moment for Crow, and it's like, oh, he's dying, and then he's like, I don't give a shit. And then of course everyone's mad at him, and then thankfully Rufus Alborea uses his older brother and Altina fucking wreck his shit. And so, and then after that, Claire from the Claire Revelt of the what the fuck was it called? The Railway Military Police. Thank you. And also Lecter Arundel from also appeared in Sky the Third, Zero, and Azure. Yeah. Who was important earlier on in the series. Come in and basically oh, we're all Ironbloods, by the way. Yeah, and then before anyone can say anything else, fucking Gilead Osborne, no hole in his torso at all, comes in and is like, "Oh, I'm very much alive." Ah! And then the fucking guy gets a mental break. Is like, I'm dreaming. I'm so completely dreaming. This has to be a dream. Alright, and so Milliam goes to join them, and then they all have their new assignments, and then and Osborne is like, we're going to occupy Crossbell. and then Reen, upset that he's still alive, fucking grabs his collar and is like, how are you still alive? Crow shot you. You're supposed to be dead. And then a twist that even Star Wars could not pull off properly rears its head, and it's revealed that Gilead Osborne, the fucking the blood and iron chancellor of Erebonia, is Reen Schwarzer's real father, because he was adopted by the Schwarzers earlier. Yeah. After that, we have a brief interlude chapter with Lloyd and Rishia, basically just going into the underground of Crossbell, and basically just we need to take this information for ourselves. And Reen and Altina are shown to team up and battle against the two of them. And it's like, what? I thought they were against each other earlier. And it's apparently revealed that Reen is working as the Ashen Chevalier to basically just be the safety of his classmates and everything are guaranteed so long as he does this. There's no harm to any of his allies. It's a ransom thing, I think. I could be wrong, or maybe it's just I don't know. And then there's a bit of an epilogue that where the old schoolhouse transforms one more time, and it's just a big old tower of things, and you could play as fucking Toa, or who you could play as when the liberation of Trista was happening, and she has some of the best moves in the entire game. She can weaken enemies, lowering their defenses.
And no wonder why they made her. Why they only made her appearances so brief in terms of being a playable character. She's
Yeah,
broken.
she's playable in Reverie.
Okay, well that's cool.
Yeah, just fucking get
Only
on
took
that.
only took them only took them 5 games.
Well, she's playable in 2, and then in Reverie, but that's 3 games between.
Yeah.
Well, 2, but whatever. All right, and speaking of 2, going into the next one, we got Cold Steel 3, which. Oh, yeah, sorry. Favorite moments. I said ending for Cold Steel 1, and also the festival that was happening. Like that, like the whole festival, including everything that happens in it, is like one of my favorite moments, and also the ending, obviously.
Right.
And I would also say the beginning where the terrorists attacking Aurelia Fortress with Atrocious Raid playing. That was awesome. 2, I would say, like the like everything involved the what was supposedly the final boss. The final dungeon that happens at the end, the Reverie Corridor. And that ending as well was also fantastic. And also the when Reen was on the Noble Alliance's ship, and between that and when he leaves with his friends, that's all great. All right, now let me move on to Cold Steel 3, which I will honestly say I think is my least favorite game of the franchise.
I can see that.
Because it's basically just a stopgap and setup for Cold Steel 4, which I get.
Right.
But it kind of feels a little, I don't know, a little dry. So, okay, so basically the plot synopsis is that Reen has been, it becomes an instructor at a branch campus of Thor's in Leaves, and he has Toa as a co-worker. Also, Randy from fucking Crossbell is also there as a co-worker, and we also have I forget his name, but I think he's from the Railway Military Police or the government as a whole. And then like we have a like one of the most powerful characters in the franchise. I forget what her name is, but she took place in the Civil War in 2, and also had a part in the northern all the big shit that happened in Northumbria, which we're not going to go into because that anime sucks.
About Aurelia?
What?
Are you talking about Aurelia?
Aurelia Le Guin, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, she had a part in the Northern War shit, and yeah, we're not going into that because that anime sucks. Everyone agrees on that point. Can you talk about the new Class 7 for a minute? I gotta go to the bathroom.
Oh yeah. New Class 7. New Class 7. Sorry. Yeah, usually in these Cold Steel games, like the Class 7 is like a massive cast of characters. But in 3, and I'm assuming 4, if the status quo holds, there's really only like 3 characters to keep track of in terms of who these new characters are. There's Yuna. It's either Yuna or Juno. It's been a while since I played Cold Steel 3. Um, she's someone who idolized Lloyd in Trails from Zero and Trails from Azure games. Um, and then you had Ash. Oh no, not Ash. And then Kurt. Kurt, who's more like he's like a swordsman who wants to like surpass Reen. I'm assuming. I think. And then you have a returning character named Altina, who's from the Cold Steel 2. And then also eventually other students join like Ash and Muse. I think that's how you say Musei. Who has the hot springs and all, and just
Oh, you're talking
teases
about
the entire game.
Muse?
Yeah, yeah. Talk about. I mentioned Yuna, Kurt, and Altina, and then I was talking about Ash, and then Musei.
Yeah, Muse is basically like the person, like the people who went for Kawakami in Persona 5.
Yeah, hot for a teacher.
That's the best part.
That's the best part.
Or the people that went for Sarah as a romantic interest in 2, 3, 4.
Yeah. That's me. That's definitely me.
I mean, no, I don't blame you at all. Like she's like in my top 5 of the list, and Yuna, speaking of her, is actually my number 5 in this instance. Yeah, quickly, I'll go over Yuna and Altina real quick again. Well, actually, I'll just go over Yuna real quick again. She was enrolled in the Crossbell Police Academy. And fun fact, in I believe it was Azure, she actually has a quick cameo if you go over there frequently, and then she just like freaks out at how cool Lloyd is. And so she's here, and she's honestly just pissed about the occupation of Crossbell, and I mean, who can blame her? And like she has a really good moment, and I think chapter 3 where we actually go over to Crossbell briefly.
Right.
Yeah, and like I get it, totally like, and yeah, and so basically what happens in this game is just like the fallout of 2. Excuse me. Ooh. And like it has a lot of setup and things that will be paid off in 4. And unfortunately, thanks to overdoing it in Northumbria's Northern War, Reen lost control of his ogre power. Because of course he did.
Of course he did. Why not?
Yeah, and so yeah, and so they're just basically just replicating what happened that way, and things just keep on going and going until we get to the point where old and new Class 7 are invited to a fancy party, and I think Heimdall, that they're invited inside the palace for like a fancy dance thingy, and Ash goes off and fucking has a failed assassination attempt against the Emperor because of the Hamel incident that basically is. Actually, now that I think about it, is that exactly why? Yeah, the Hamel incident is essentially why this whole franchise is happening in the first place, because that's where Joshua was. Yeah, and so the Emperor is in bad condition, and they're just trying to find any and every excuse to go to war with Calvert, because of course they are. And now we got to deal with the fucking Erebonian curse as well. The curse of Erebonia that makes people do stupid shit. Just like in real life. Alright, yeah, and so and everybody teams up and reunites and goes after like the big bads and people, and yeah, oh, by the way, Crow is now back from the dead. So that's great.
Hey guys, what's up? Did I miss anything?
Yeah, and so they're basically just going around. Yeah, and they're going in and trying to face all these guys, and I'm trying to remember what the final boss was. I think they just stick like a giant monster on everybody. I don't know. And yeah, and so just like everyone, like, what the fuck was his name? it's not Oliver. I'm trying to remember. Cedric teams up with Osborne, who then also teams up with Elisa's now not dead father, and also a bunch of other people from the Peanut Gallery and pasts of all the other characters that just come around and be like, yeah, we're starting the Great Twilight. Go fuck yourselves. Hello?
Yep.
Oh, yeah, okay, alright. And yeah, so they basically manipulate it so that the big bad monster thing accidentally kills Milliam in front of Reen's eyes, and Reen unleashes the full extent of his ogre power, basically just going into like a mad, mean, big bad Mamma Jamma mode. And just, like, does not see any reason whatsoever.
Right.
Yeah, and so defeats the monster, and then thus causes the Great Twilight. And so yeah, now everybody is really, like, just everything's fucked. Everything is fucked.
Yeah. And then credits.
Yeah, and then Osborne, in his own fucking mech suit thing, comes along and is like, "Now, Reen, we will write this wretched fairy tale in ink and blood." And then that's when the credits roll. And like, yeah, that was cool. I wish the whole game was like that. And, like, teaming up with everybody for, like, the dungeon app before that was kind of cool, but still, I don't know. Yeah, and did we forget to mention that Aryan Road and fucking Rutger Clausel, fucking Zephyr's leader, also have Divine Knights as well. And also Rufus has a fucking Divine Knight, too. Divine Knight for you! Divine Knight for you!
I liked Cold Steel 3. There's definitely like a lot of things I really enjoyed about it, but definitely it did feel like, I think like you said, it felt like the setup game for the next game.
And you still haven't finished 4, have you?
And I still haven't played 4 because I've been starting the Zero. I started Zero and gonna move on to Azure once I'm done with it.
All right. The Sky trilogy shouldn't take as long. I think they're the shortest of the games, I believe.
Right.
So yeah. All right, and yeah, so we're gonna quickly go through 4, Reverie, and Daybreak real quick because we've been at this for almost a full hour. Actually, we've been at this for an hour and 2 minutes, and we want to actually have some like game time in today. So let's just get on with it, please.
Get on with it.
Oh, and yeah, all right. Okay, so 4 picks up where the new and old Class 7, except for Reen, are in the Hexen clan's village, and after a rousing speech from Yuna, they all basically just go around seeing what's going on with everything and try to find a way to find Reen and get to him and rescue him. And so, and yeah, and this part of the game, like between here and when they actually go to the Black Workshop and rescue Reen, is the worst part of it. Even like I say worst, but it's not bad. It's just mediocre compared to like the high octane everything else about the game. And so yeah, and so they go to rescue Reen. They manage to snap him out of his random bullshit, but his hair stays white and his eyes stay red because he's been in ogre form too long. And yeah, and oh, by the way, he has his ogre power because fucking Osborne gave him his heart when he was like young and stuff, and like he had a fatal injury or something.
Right.
Stupid random crap. But yeah, yeah, and Reen is back with sporting a new cool black coat jacket thing, and. Yeah, and so now they have control over the Courageous 2. Oh wait, no, that's not yet. that happens after a really cool sequence where they actually all get to meet um, most of the characters from Liberl and Crossbell.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then like everyone just has like big old reunions and stuff. But like that was like I say my favorite part, but I would say my favorite parts of the game were literally everything, like from rescuing Reen to the closing credits.
Yeah, okay.
Like that is how good this fucking game is. All right, and so after, yeah, and then they meet up. The bad guys are like, "Hey, we're the bad guys. We're just establishing what the next boss fights are gonna be like. Here you go." And so after fighting for a little bit, they leave, and then the Courageous 2, they take over that. Well, Class 7 takes control of that, and then they go around, start doing the rivalries. Yeah, Crow had amnesia in 3, but remembers everything at the very end. And so yeah, he's back, and he and Reen team up and do a bunch of stuff. And Duvali, who was a Knight of the Stahlritter, was like, "This is all kind of fucked up. I'm leaving," and like goes to fight with Crow instead. Well, ally with Crow, who then allies with Class 7. And like Duvali is like one of my favorite standout like characters that like yeah, she's one of my favorites.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Oh yeah. Also, Celine has a humanoid form, like a cat girl form. But yeah, and that's yeah, and now yeah, and in that form, she's able to fight and do like magic-y things.
Mm-hmm. Good old magic things.
Yeah. Oh, and Angelica is now under like mind control until she's not, and it's all because of George because like flip around his name a little bit and oh no, he's a member of the gnomes. Yeah, and thankfully that doesn't take super long to get him to his senses as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so after that, then they fight Rutger Clausel, Fee's adopted father from the Jaegers. And as of 3, she's also now a Bracer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, basically following in the footsteps of Sarah, who used to also be a Jaeger, but is now also a Bracer. Well, was, and then came out of retirement after she stopped teaching.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Yeah, and then like everything involving Fee in this game is fantastic.
Right.
Yeah, like all, that whole segment where they're fighting him, and then just like the goodbye, and that just fucking gets me. And then after that, they fight the Stahlritter and Arianrod, and like that was a pretty damn good sequence too. And then Rufus comes in and fucking literally stabs Arianrod's fucking Divine Knight in the back and killing her, taking the wings for himself. What a dick. Yeah, but we'll get to his whole thing in Reverie. We'll get to that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and so they're really mad about that, and then that's enough things to get to the final boss, and then they battle against everyone else. Lecter and Claire, they fight against them, and before they can commit seppuku, the other characters are like, yeah, we've dealt with enough people killing themselves. We're done with that. Thank you very much. Already learned enough of that in Cold Steel 2.
It's like, you knock it off.
Yeah, we literally dealt with that with Vulcan. We're not doing that again. Yeah. And so after that, they battle with Cedric and a character that was in, I think, Azure. Surely part of the Red Constellation Jaeger Corps, who is who is like now a member of Ouroboros as of the end of Azure. And so after Cedric is defeated by Kurt, who they're basically kind of rivals, sort of, he's offered a job at Ouroboros. But that's for a future game that I haven't played. I don't know. Then we have, Rufus and I think it was Rufus and Black Ulbrich like teaming up. I think. Oh, I know. It was Mirabelle and whatever his name is, Campanella the Fool, who is Enforcer number 0. And like Yuna basically just goes off on them and are like, "Stop with the cryptic bullshit," says everyone playing this franchise. Yeah, and so they have a fight, and then they have a little bit of information for them, and then that's it. And then it's the fight against Rufus and Black Ulbrich, aka Elise's father. And so fights them. Eustace punches his brother in the face, and then Black Ulbrich starts glitching out. And then it's the fight against McBurn, who turns out to be like a demon from another world or something. I don't fucking get it. Like it's barely explained, and it's like there are certain laws in this world, certain things we can and cannot understand. And it's all thanks to Gaius and Emma being like having otherworldly knowledge and powers, because Gaius inherited the stigma, which is like a church thing, from a guy who's actually in Daybreak, where we'll get to that momentarily. So yeah, and then they defeat him, and then he's like, "Yeah, sorry about that. Here, let me give you like a cool power thing you can use in the final boss." And then, he literally gives you like a flame thing that you can use in the final boss, which is cool. And then you fight off against Chancellor Osborne, now voiced by somebody else because COVID bullshit. And so what happens is, Reen defeats him, and then depending on if you went back for the Earth in Prison thing, you either get the bad ending first, then are forced to, then you have to retry and go get the Earth in Prison. It'll literally railroad you into doing so it should be fine.
Right.
And then you do that, and then you get to beat the final boss with every character except for all the people on the Courageous too, which it would be Toa and Elise and like all those guys. They give you like their orders, but that's it. And then, I think it is my favorite final boss, or one of. Reverie has a really good one too, and we'll get to that in a minute. And so Great Twilight dispelled. Reen goes back to normal. Crow is somehow saved. Milliam is also somehow saved, and then Elise's father has to leave, and so do the Divine Knights. Yeah, and then there you go, and that's it. And then something from Eventide, the thing before the final act of the game. Olivert and Sherazard have had a relationship since like the Sky game days, and basically Olivert proposes to Sherazard, and we see in the ending credits it's the wedding between the two. And like that honestly is my favorite credit sequence of any game, period. Alright, I'm gonna kind of just like bullet point Reverie and Daybreak because there's a lot to go through.
Yeah.
So what happens is that it's basically just a big old thing where Rufus comes back and occupies Crossbelt, but it's not actually Rufus, it's a robot duplicate. There are robot duplicates fucking everywhere! And it turns out, this mysterious sea person that has Nadia, Swin, and Lapis, the Rosenberg doll turns out to be, oh no, it's Rufus actually with short hair because, oh no, the one in Crossbell is actually an imposter. And now Rufus is just going around and just doing whatever is going on, just trying to clear his name more or less. And yeah, Crossbell gets occupied again, and Yuna is upset, justifiably so, because they literally just fucking finished dealing with the Great Twilight and everything else. Yeah, and and Reen's story is just like weird stuff keeps happening to him, and as they try to just figure shit out around the country, and then Lloyd is going around and like after they lose dealing with after they try to deal with Robo Rufus, they pass out and everyone just is scattered around. This is a big game if you really love the Zero and Azure games.
Right.
Yeah, it's mostly about Lloyd coming together and figuring everything out. Yeah, and for context, Nadia and Swin are part of the, I think it's the 5 and 9 novel series that's in the games, which is included in Reverie for those of you who haven't read it yet. So you'll be able to just quickly read up on it and then get a basic gist of their story.
Mm.
Yeah, and so after dealing with all kinds of shenanigans and stuff, and meeting a bunch of allies, they all meet back up in the center of Crossbell, and then all confront the robots and a mind controlled Ilya from fucking Arkansas.
Mm.
And after that, it is revealed that the Elysium, which Lapis is from, who used to be a former administrator before being booted out into a Rosenberg doll body, is basically like, yeah, I'm just going to kill everything that I see fit with a giant laser.
Mm.
And so everyone's like, hell no, and just teams up and goes in and just tries to beat it up. Yeah, and so it turns out that that the Reen Schwarzer from that took in all of the Great Twilight's curse and everything was found by Elysium in its like prediction core thing and made real, and who is therefore referred to as Ishmelga Reen, being a fusion of the two beings. And yeah, and Lloyd figures it out because he realizes that it's just like the Azure Tree, where it was like a scenario that might have been like the fact that they all died in originally, and connects the dots and is like, can you think of any instance where had even something slightly different happened, things would have drastically changed? And then Reen figures it out, and then and then they battle this guy, and then they battle again, and then Reen has like a mind meld heart to heart with the thing, and the Reen part of the personality leaves, and only the Ishmelga part is remaining. And then they kill it, and then they all try to teleport out of there with Rufus, basically learning to be like a part of something and such. Basically just like uses the systems, like exits out of the teleportation, and basically just like the thing is that the system that was the laser thing was based on like the things that people hate the most, and like he basically just goes on TV and starts acting like a politician that people hate. And so the laser thing hits it, but that's thankfully only a vision of the future. And Lapis convinces Nadia, Swin, Eustace, and Lloyd and Zeit to go and rescue him before it actually kills him, and then Rufus realizes that like his little merry band of cynical bastards are like his family, and is like he realizes just how loved he really is, and then they all leave, and then he basically just is pronounced dead by the government, and he starts up a new life with Nadia, Swin, and Lapis on the road. And that's the end of Reverie. Oh yeah, and there's a bunch of and there's a Reverie corridor, and we find out about more things going on, and that President of Calvard is kind of an asshole. Even though, as we transition to Daybreak, we find out that Agnes is the daughter of President Rocksmith.
Bum, bum, bum.
We only find that out later on in the game. Yeah. But yeah, and these details are going to be a bit shaky, but yeah. So, it's been like a year or two since the events of Daybreak of Reverie. And Van Arkride is the sole proprietor of Arkride Solutions, who basically is just like a mercenary for hire who solves mundane problems like a bracer, eliminates monsters like a Jaeger, and does investigative work like a police officer. So basically, he is just like hired help, like a mercenary handyman. Yeah, as long as the mirror and and as long as the job and the mirror are right, he'll always take your case. And so his first client in Lyle is Agnes, who basically tasks him to find all of these genocide. And then over the course of finding the first one, he is able to tap into a power that is known as the Grendel. And he becomes, like, able to transform into, like, a bestial form that fucking wrecks house. Yeah, and that happens every time they find a genocide, or go up against a really big boss. Yeah. And he always has to bear the nightmare. And we'll learn just how bad that nightmare was later on, but yeah. And then we meet up with all of the other merry band of characters, including another Jaeger child who has connections to Fee. This hotshot redheaded sword wielder dude from this Oriental looking place, and he's like a cross dressing on a stage theater play thing. I don't fucking get his deal. His name is Aaron. The Jaeger girl is named Fairy, and they also join Arkride Solutions along with Agnes. There's also, I'm trying to remember. There's also among those who join would be like this lady Van keeps interacting with from the company that he got his unique stun baton thing, and his specific AI thing that replaces Arcus's. I forget the name of it, but yeah. Anyway. Yeah, and so she becomes a permanent member of Arkride Solutions, and then we find out she's a fucking robot. Or at the very least, or at least a cyborg. I don't know exactly the specific terms for it. Yeah. Also joining him is an actress that is basically like an even more scantily clad Catwoman, except kind of a failure. And also we have a guy who I'm going to honestly guess is a cross-dresser. I think as far like like he's self-conscious about other people seeing him naked.
Mm-hmm.
So either he has like a big scar like Reen does, or I'm assuming that is a cross-dresser.
Mm.
I don't know. I have that feeling that
Mm.
there's something up with this guy. But yeah,
Mm.
he's like big into robots and has like a robot assistant drone thingy and a robot doggo.
Mm-hmm.
And then rounding out the cast, I'm trying to remember. Oh, Jesus Christ. What the hell is up with my head today? Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, yeah. And then rounding out the cast would be this big guy who used to be a part of the Gralsritter who gave his stigma to Gaius and was the
Mm.
mentor of Van Arkrad. Thus, through a combination of meeting up with Fee from Erebonia, who's coming into Crossbell to basically just Calvard to help out the Calvard Bracers out a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Elaine, who was basically a former flame of Van's back in high school days, where he and her were a couple, and then he just fucked off for whatever reason.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have the return of what the hell was his name again? He was in the Sky Games. What the hell was his name? Hold on. Hold on. Characters. Do we have characters? No, of course not. That'd be too fucking easy.
They like making things hard on you.
Shit, what the hell was his name? Zin. That's it. I think his name was Zin. The big martial arts user guy from later on in the game, who has his own history in Calvard. Then there's like a bunch of incidental characters, including a police officer or two, a journalist or two. Yeah, and so over the course of the game, finding the Genesee and everything is just a whole bunch of shit. And then there's like a group that is not actually related to Ouroboros that insists on being like, oh, we're gonna use these Genesee to start killing a bunch of fucking people, and it's gonna be like a little glorious slaughter. Like, weird. And then we also actually have 2 Ouroboros members that we haven't seen before. But they're relatively interesting, but like one's an enforcer and one isn't. And so Van and everybody confront them all in an underground. Well, actually, no, it wasn't an underground thing. They were fighting in like a big like battle royale tournament in the underground, and then after that they go into a high up castle. Van seemingly kills the main bad guy, and then the one other bad guy escapes. And then they go for a vacation thing where they run across like one of the most powerful swordswomen in all of the series in a hidden sneak peek of the future that Reverie has. It's revealed that Reen and her went up against each other, and she fucking cut his Tachi off.
Mm-hmm. Not my Tachi.
Yeah, and if the trailers of the new game are anything to go by, they're gonna have a rematch.
Mm-hmm.
But that's a discussion for another time. After that, and so encounter her, and she basically is like you know Nemona from Pokemon.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's basically like a sword wielding version of that.
Oh,
Always
nice.
looking for a battle to get her excited, and
Mm.
always looking for strong opponents. She basically is just the
Mm.
Nimona of the Trails universe.
Oh, nice. I'm down with that.
Yeah. All right, and so she and Van team up near the end of the game where the whole fucking town that they were mainly sticking to is like invaded by these weird monoliths and monsters and everything.
Mm.
And so he reunites the gang and they go up this immeasurably high flight of stairs and stuff. And then they get to him, and then Van transforms into the Grendel once more and beats the stuffing out of this guy. And
Mm.
finally defeats him after so long because, as it turns out, this guy was actually okay. So Van was actually a victim of the DG cult back in Zero and Azure.
Mm.
And so what happened is that basically like a part of him, like a dark part of him that he was born with was separated from him, and then so like the big bad guy had like the missing piece, and so Van takes back that missing piece and so defeats him, and then he Van turns into like a godly being.
Mm.
And basically has to say goodbye to everybody, and then everybody's just like, oh hell no, and then they go and manage to find him in like a pocket universe, and just like no big deal, just find him in a pocket universe.
Mm.
And then so what they do is they basically just convince him to leave with them and not be restrained for the rest of however long. And so the Grendel may take over and make things really really bad in the future, but they're not going to worry about that for right now.
Mm.
And so that's the ending.
Okay. And then that's the trail series thus far.
Yeah, man, that was exhausting. It was hour and 30. My God. All right. And we already know that Daybreak 2 is coming out early next year, and Farewell to Zemuria should hopefully be right behind that.
Mm.
All right.
Is
And
there
with
is there like a Reverie 2 coming out, or is that, or am I just imagining things?
that, it like Farewell to Zemuria might be similar to Reverie, but not enough to like say it's like a Reverie 2.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's probably how the next one's gonna kind of be like, but not quite.
Mm.
All right. And with that, I think we'll call that a wrap for our thoughts on the Trail series. We love the franchise, and
Mm.
like my some of my favorite characters are Estelle, uh, Alisa, Fee, Sarah, Toa, Yuna,
Mm.
uh, Fairy from Daybreak, Rufus and his gang in Reverie, and Yuna and Rishia and Noel.
Mm.
And who are some of your favorites?
Um, Sarah, Aurelia, and Altina
Oh, that's
are
nice.
my, yeah. Like I thought Altina was fun in two, but I really liked her in the third one.
Ah, all right. Okay.
And then
Well,
like Aurelia is just amazing. Yeah, I loved her one chapter where you got to play her, and I was like, oh man, she's overpowered, and I love it.
yeah. All right. Gonna need to wrap it up because I got something I gotta take care of before we do game stuff.
All right, no worries.
All right. Gonna call it here. Thank you for watching. See you later.
See ya.